Hi. Oh, good. Stuff is working. Some things are working. Um, I am gonna do these spice blends today, but oh, why did this turn off? You son of a pup. I'm running late and I need to get dinner started as well for me and my uh the son that lives in the house and isn't picky. Um, is gonna have tikka masala with me, but it's homemade. I'm riffing on a recipe that I found on the internet, and I mean, it's all kind of made up anyway, right? But then after, work on, I'm going to see my eldest son tomorrow, and I know he's out of Baby Bam. He can't tolerate cayenne anymore. We're out of Bam because I used it to make oven fried chicken the other day. Um, so I'm gonna make a batch of Bam, which is Emerald's Creole seasoning. Um, that I keep in the house. So I'll make probably a double batch of that, and then I'm gonna make Baby Bam to take to Connor. Um, and I'm gonna make some poultry seasoning and probably some taco seasoning and maybe some chili powder and maybe some Italian seasoning and maybe some herb de Provence. Um, so hopefully this is useful to y'all. If nothing else, having a good uh, Creole, Cajun seasoning, whatever, in your house to use for any number of things is just a great go-to. The pre-mixed stuff in the store, I find to be way too salty for my taste. I'd rather add my own salt. And there's salt in this seasoning blend, but it's not as intense as stuff like the Tony Cucheras, which I find to be good, but way too salty. Um, and I'm going to do some unintentional unboxing, if that makes sense. Oh, jeez. Let's not have my computer fall down. Um, I bought something on TikTok. I bought these sprayer bottle things. You can spray oil or you can flip the switch and pour it. I got one green, one brown, so I can put regular oil and olive oil in them. And I was really concerned. I used to use something called Misto back in the day instead of cans of. That's my masala, my homemade masala. Look back in the VODs to find making that. Um, but I found that after not too long, they get gummed up. I don't know. I haven't had these long enough to see if they're going to do the same thing. But I was watching different, you get these TikTok videos and they're pushing the stuff to you, and there's um, people demonstrating them, and some of them look like it's spraying in a nice fine mist, which is what you want when you're using a can of something. And avoiding aerosols is great, but if you want that nice, light, even spray. So some of these people demonstrating it, it looked like it was kind of just squirting out. Um, and that's not what I want. Like, if I need to take a brush and brush it around after, that's not why I wanted to spray it in the first place. I could have done that just by putting some oil in it out of the bottle. Um, I'm browning up this chicken in some olive oil, and then I'm going to put the masala in and cook the chicken with that a little bit to get the seasonings incorporated. And then I'm going to put in some tomato sauce and a little coconut milk and then pressure cook it for 7 minutes and then pull it out and mix in like yogurt and peas. So anyway, I'm also refilling in the meantime my Candier easier to measure from salt shakers with a big box of salt, which I had to order online because it's been hard to find around here lately. And then of course I found some at BJ's, but I'm taking that box to my son because he told me the other day he's also having trouble finding his big boxes of kosher. Because people around here are crazy and bought it when we had an ice storm. Um, do. So anyway, hopefully that tikka masala-ish thing turns out. Like I said, I'm riffing on an internet recipe. So the bottles, I tested them as soon as I got them, and they do. The ones I got spread a nice fine mist. So I'm happy with that, and they were pretty freaking cheap. Um, I can look back at my orders if anybody's interested. You can DM me in Discord, and if you want to make sure to get the brand I got, because if you're having the same concern. However, the box that came in was like really chintzy and didn't have a brand name on it, and it reminded me of like, you know, a Temu purchase, and they still are of a quality that they're behaving the way I want. So, okay, put this masala in. I'm gonna put 2 cubes of this in. It might be overkill, but I'm skipping all the steps with the dry spices and the um, onions and ginger and everything. So I want to make sure it's more important to me to have the flavor um, than not. Okay. Smells good in here. I mean, just smells like chicken now. The other unintentional unboxing is going to be. Let me put my phone where I can maybe see it if anyone messages me. I got a new immersion blender. And it's got a little like mini chopper in it. When I make my batches of spices, I normally use my food processor when I'm making like really big batches of BAM, which I sometimes do. For small herb blends and stuff, I use I have a coffee grinder, but it's just for you with spices, and that's great. I use that when I dehydrate herbs for my garden too. But or a mortar and pestle. I mean, it's whatever tool is best for the size of the job you're doing. But I thought this is like it's a mini processor, so it's going to be that in between the spice grinder and the whole S processor. So I'll be trying my new stick blender. Here's a piece of it I'll probably never use. I'll be trying the stick blender, and we'll be able to see if it is powerful enough or whatever. I was not familiar with this brand. This is another thing I don't know if I'll ever use. It's a frother, but it just came with all this extra crap. Okay, I'm gonna have to figure out how some of this works. Does it have a... It's got a manual, but I bet I can figure it out without it. This looks like it goes in here. Maybe not. No, that's for other attachments. Okay. Okay, so that's... I don't even know. Oh, that must be for... Yeah, the whisk and the frother. Okay. So that's that attachment. This goes straight on here. Yep. That's my immersion blender. It has 4 blades. And it's got a release button for it, which hopefully makes it easier. That's part of the problem I was having with my old one. And this, there we go, it just snaps on there. Cool. All right, let me give this a stir. Now it smells good. It smells like spice here. Yeah. It called for like a lot of tomato sauce, but I'm only putting a small can just to kind of make sure it has enough liquid. And some coconut milk. Again, not as much as it called for, but I've got part of a carton left. Let's shut this off, so I need to put it on pressure. I know you can't see what I'm doing, but this is what the show is today. It looks right color. I guess that's a good sign. Scrape the bottom. Ooh, all right. Now, I can't taste it because this chicken isn't fully cooked. I'm going to preemptively assume it is going to need some salt based on, I mean, the recipe said it had some too. And let's put it on high pressure for 7 minutes. Pressure cook. Custom high 7. And select and start. Where's start? All right. I guess I should look at the recipe quick before I continue with my spice blendy things, because those I have my paper notes for. Okay, just the seasoning, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, after 7 minutes, then let release for naturally for 5. Okay. So, and that timer will start counting up when that is done. And then stir in some yogurt. I'm going to put the peas in then too. It's kind of a mishmash of 2 different recipes because I'm a dork. That's how I roll. Sorry, but that's not the demo today. Okay, I'm going to plug in my new immersion blender. If anybody wants to see, I'm sure I'll use it in another stream, but I can show how these sprayers panned out. Okay. I thought about cordless. I couldn't find anything cordless that looked like it was going to actually be decent. I mean, you want power for an immersion blender. So, what is plugged in that doesn't need to be? There, my labs don't need to be charging. It's already charged. Lab. Yep, still working. Okay. So, what first? First, BAM. This is what I keep my BAM in, with BAM written on it. This is an old paprika thing in my cupboard at all times because you can throw that shit on anything and it works. Okay, that snaps on. Interesting. Goes on a peg on the inside. Okay. You can just throw it on plain. You can throw it on with some Bisquick from fried chicken. You can beef, pork, chicken, whatever. You can use it for a rub and blacken. So yeah, I keep it around. Emeralds is another one, and I'm gonna double this recipe. So 2.5, so it's gonna be 5 tablespoons of paprika. But I found the store-bought, even the Emeralds branded stuff is just not as good as making it yourself. I started doing it many, many years ago after seeing him do it when he had a cooking show on Food Network. And I looked it up on Food Network. The Baby Bam one, which is doesn't have cayenne and stuff, I got from a cookbook of his I have called There's a Chef in My Soup. So 2 tablespoons of salt, so 4. And I make that for folks that don't like the spicy, can't tolerate cayenne, but is still a really good all-purpose Creole seasoning. Okay, 2 tablespoons of garlic powder, so 4. That's onion. Some people should not buy giant things of spices because they're not going to use them fast enough and they're going to lose all their potency. I am not one of those people. I use it really in large amounts, as you can see, because I do things like this and because it's great gifts. And black pepper is next. Tablespoons, so I'll use 2 tablespoons. I also store it properly because I've got my awesome dark cupboard over here. The stuff I use more often stays out in the open. So double that, black pepper, tablespoon onion powder, which is going to be 2 tablespoons of onion powder. And then I'm going to make sure my pressure cooker is on the right setting so the pressure is building and not letting go because it's making noise. It always throws me. I will say the one, yeah, it's on seal. A flaw in this fancy new Instapot Deluxe or whatever Pro, I don't know, that Connor got me, is the markings for whether it's vent or seal it's black on black. It's just raised, so I don't have super bright light going on. It's hard to see exactly if I'm on the right setting. Although it seems to kick back to seal as a default, which is as it should be. Tablespoon of cayenne. Now, normally for this, I do like to use crushed red pepper and then just let it whiz up when I'm doing it, but I'm using powdered cayenne because that's what I have, and it's the same thing, really. I didn't think I was going to have to buy any because I've got like, okay, 7 minutes counting down. Where's my oregano? Oh, because I grew a whole lot of peppers, and my friend Scott grew a whole lot of peppers he gave me. And I didn't think I was ever going to run out, but I did. Same with oregano. I grew shit tons of oregano. I'm still grinding up the dehydrated stuff. So, tablespoon, which is going to be 2. Oregano is a really surprising thing in a lot of spice blends that you don't think it's in. Like this, Creole seasoning, but also in like chili powders, in barbecue sauce. It does a thing you didn't know it was doing. Because you know it's in there when you just buy the blend. Oh, great. I lost the lid. That's great content, right? Crawling around under a table. All right. I hope I didn't put all this in there and then the thick blender doesn't work. That might not have been the brightest thing I did. Time. Tablespoon of time, which is going to be 2 because I'm doubling. I'm kind of glad Connor can't tolerate cayenne anymore. Can I say that? No. I mean, it's very, very sad for him. But I would have made twice this double batch if I had to also take him some. All right. Let's see. It's got a dial for speed on the top, I guess. It's got a turbo function. Ooh. Well, that seems to have whizzed up nicely. Look, it's all like uniform Cajun seasoning now. And I did not bring a funnel in here like a genius. That's okay, I have a lav mic. So you can still hear me wandering around in my kitchen. Wow, that made fast work of it. My food processor is old and I think it needs sharpening, and I don't know how that's going to happen. I'll probably look for a replacement blade or something instead. But yeah, now I can make small batches of salsa and stuff. My old immersion blender did not have this little gadget. So the old one still works. Just all the markings are worn off. And with my crappy arthritic hands, I've got a little bit going on where it's hard to separate, but I don't want to just throw it away because, I mean, it does still work, and the motor's and super strong. I think what I'm going to do is donate that to Goodwill or Yokefellow or something, so that someone who doesn't have the money to buy a new one can still have the benefit of getting one into their life, and hopefully try new recipes and stuff. So look at that nice big fat amount of Ban. This will last us a couple of months at least, depending how often I use it. Like I said, you can throw it on some pork or chicken and just throw it in the oven. You can mix it with Bisquick and then do oven fried chicken. You can just throw it on some pork chops and fry them up. You can rub it on a steak and blacken it or grill it. Super versatile. Good to have in the house. What's next? Baby Bam. I'll do the Baby Bam. Although I got to look for a container. And I don't need to wipe this out too carefully because it's similar. And he's not that sensitive cayenne. It's not going to kill my son to have a little bit if it's left in there. Do I make a double batch? I guess it depends what size container I have for him. That's a little container. I was going to do sausage seasoning too, but I decided not to. What is this? This is hot breakfast. Do I have two different things of hot breakfast? Uh-oh. Shoot, no, that's Italian. This is poultry. I do plan to do more poultry, so I get the jar out. You know what? I'll just use a canning jar. Half-pint jar should take a double batch. I don't want to go in my son's room because if I don't close it up, the cats will go in there and mess with his stuff. He hates that. All right. For our purposes, I got just a regular sized canning jar. I can move it to something different before taking it to Raleigh tomorrow. Okay. Baby Bam. Lots of paprika again. Where did I put the paprika? Over here. 3 tablespoons. 6. Yeah, I'll do a double batch. I don't get out there as often as I should. No. Yeah. I'll do a double batch. That's my boy. He does love to cook. And weather's coming, so that there'll be more opportunities to grill and smoke and things. He, salt, 2, so 4 tablespoons, 2 tablespoons. 3, 4. I put a little less salt than it calls for. His father-in-law got a smoker for Christmas, and Connor had He got some pork belly at Costco and he cured it using the recipe. It said 5 minutes, let that release. That's awesome because it went to that time automatically. Why does it say high pressure? It'll be fine. Still not used to this thing. And it's Jess Pryles, Make Your Own Homemade Bacon at Home recipe that I use and modify. And he used that, and he was going to go over to Dale's and smoke it, but it was raining today, so he's going tomorrow. But he's making his first batch of homemade bacon. 2 tablespoons of parsley. I had to go buy parsley. I had also used that all up. Well, I had little tiny bags of it, and I knew it was going to be enough for a big batch of this. I was drying some, but it's not dry yet. And I got the whole dehydrator for a little thing of parsley I had left over from making something. So tomorrow he's going to smoke bacon, and I'm going to be in town tomorrow, so I will hopefully get... Maybe he'll send me home with some bacon. Usually I'm delivering bacon to him. I've got some curing right now, but it's not going to be ready to smoke until in the middle of next week. And I only did like a small 3-pound slab. Okay, where was it? Parsley, onion powder. Now 2 teaspoons of onion powder, which is, I'm using 4 teaspoons, which is a tablespoon plus a teaspoon. I'm just going to use teaspoons for this. I thought about I should just give him that kids cookbook, the Emerald one, because he's raising a son now, and I imagine he'll teach the little guy to cook. 2 teaspoons of garlic powder. It's funny, I went in there to get the Baby Bam recipe because I didn't have it in a notebook. 2 garlic, which means 4, and a teaspoon of pepper, so 2 teaspoons. And the Baby Bam page had been torn out and taped back in. I don't remember when that happened. But I also had a printed out copy of the regular BAM stuck in that page to hold it. It's definitely the most used page in the cookbook, all the way up to ripping it out at some point. Oregano. Again, this is my homegrown oregano. And yes, actually oregano. Basil. This is something the regular BAM does not have in it, that it does need a little more zhuzhing because of ingredients it doesn't have that the other one does, like cayenne. Basil tends to have a little bit of a licorice-y sense, so I guess it just gives it more depth, more interest. Thyme, teaspoon of thyme. And celery salt. I forgot to get that out, because it's another thing that's not in the regular BAM. And I know I've got some because I had a Bloody Mary not long ago. There's celery seeds. Oh, there's some homegrown thyme I could have used. Oh well. We'll all live. Oh, there's another parcel thing of poultry seasoning. I think it's time to clean my cupboard. Celery salt. Yeah, celery salt. I use this to make Baby Bam batches, and it's got a half a teaspoon of that, so I'm putting a full one. And Bloody Marys. Kind of the only thing I use it for, which is a shame. There are other things I should add it to. If you ever heard of Vegisol, like salt, it's a flavored salt that top's broken. I'm gonna throw that away because if I forget that that is broken, I'm gonna just dump celery salt and something. What did I used to use that in stuff like coleslaw dressing, um, stuff like deviled eggs. It's a really nice little addition to things like that. All right, so I'll do full release. I gotta go get my yogurt to add to this. I asked Rob to pick up the yogurt. Well, I had it on the shopping list and he actually looked at the list, which he doesn't always do when he goes to the store. And I did not specify the amount. So I'm going to be, maybe come up with smoothies and stuff because he got me a 2-pound thing when I really only needed like a little bit. Okay. Okay, so I guess I'll show y'all the Tikka spearmint. Oh, I hope it's good. I mean, how could it not be good? Almost. Almost. Impatient. There. Ooh, boy, that's going hard. Cool. Let's stir first so I get an idea of how much yogurt I want to put in this. Actually, I should taste it too. It's a little soupier than I wanted it to be. Again, it is the right color. Hey, kind of tastes like tikka masala. It's let's put some yogurt in. Very chickeny. Like the spice flavors aren't as strong as I expected. Especially if you're putting 2 things of the masala, the homemade masala in. See what the yogurt did. Other than try to break. I'm not into that. All right. This needs a flavor zhuzh. It needs... It's my first time making a homemade tikka masala, so I'm not mad at it. Ooh. Some salt. Which someday I'll learn to use my little cauldron I have in this room for it. And some garam masala. I think I could use more coconut milk, but I don't want to open a can, just use part of it. So we will deal without it. Something making me sneeze. Give a minute for that to hydrate. Oh, there we go. Just a little too. It's a good aromatic. This is arrowroot. That's what I'm going to use to thicken it because it doesn't taste like anything. And I know we do want it a little thicker. There. It looks a little silky. A little more. Yeah. All right. I'm going to go get those peas. Well, this is hot enough to make a difference. Yogurt for a little more tang. We're getting really bored. I've been using the Aldi jar of tikka masala, which is pretty good. for years, but we found it a little too sweet more recently. Peas. I forgot what I came in for. And so I looked up Instapot recipes. I was like, that masala I made has to be a shortcut to this very common Scottish dish. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. I'm happy with that. I don't mind it's a little soupy. It's about the same texture as like the red or green curry I get from the Thai place, and we're having it with rice, so hell yeah. Better in the jar. And almost definitely healthier because a lot less sugar. Oh, I can taste the coconut milk. Now, I guess it just needed time to figure itself out. Okay, you don't look there. You don't look there. What are we? That's my frying pan. Here's all my spicy shit. And hey, Vic. I had to tell my son dinner's ready. Maybe just give it like 4 or 5 minutes for the peas to warm up. Here. I'm sorry I didn't stream for so long. I'm still sniffling. I almost don't want to go see the baby tomorrow. I can't decide if it's cold or allergies. Okay, I'm gonna make a noise here in a minute as I zip up the baby bam. I put celery salt in, right? That was the last ingredient. Ready? Holy crap! That works so well. Joy. Now it doesn't have to be a fine mist or anything. And you'll see stuff like paprika that was already ground fine went to the bottom. But you do want to just open up, break up any clumps and open up things like your thyme and your oregano to be more consistently the size of the other ingredients so that when you're spreading it on stuff, it happens evenly. Look at that. Nice amount of baby bam for my baby boy who's 30. Okay, what's next? Poultry seasoning. Poultry seasoning is another thing that some people only use once a year, or twice a year, at the holidays, and I use a lot of. I don't have a GoCam thing, whatever they're called. I forget. You know what I mean, right? So I don't know if or how I'm ever going to be able to do grilling shows, but I've got a recipe that I can share if people want. Just ask. I'll put it in the Discord for firehouse chicken that I use a lot. When I don't know if it's different down south. They do barbecue, right, for every fundraiser. Up north, where I'm from in New York, they tend to have like the fire halls will have fundraisers, and they do, and at county fairs they do this too. They have like big, giant grills, tables of chicken, and then they throw it in a garbage can with foil, clean garbage cans, obviously, and you can come buy your to-go chicken or eat it there or whatever. And it's like a vinegar-based sauce. A lot of them use something called chivettas, which is very similar to what I make, except it does not have egg, but it does have a little Worcester in it. But it uses like vinegar, oil, salt, pepper, egg, and like 2 tablespoons of poultry seasoning. Um, so 2 or 3, I forget, but a lot. Like, because if you're buying little bottles, poultry seasoning, or the little cans like in Bell's, it's not gonna get you. It's gonna get you one batch of chicken, and I do this chicken often in the summer. It's a family favorite. It gets requested. I take it to events. I have people over, and they're like, "This is terrible. No one else should eat it." Uh, I'll never forget. First time that happened to me was my friend Beth did that. Like, no one should eat this chicken. It's terrible. Like, it just she wanted more. Um, so I make my own poultry seasoning because I have the stuff in the house for it all the time. Uh, Several components of it I grow. No, I don't need the lemon balm. I forget I've got this big jar of basil in here. I have so much stuff. Now I'm going to use this. Some of these I'm trying to use up. They're I inherited when my dad passed in the summer. Um, his thing of marjoram here is very likely, still smells like marjoram, or I'd throw it away. But it's probably older than the bag I have. Anyway, so I make my own. It's got sage, thyme, marjoram, rosemary, nutmeg, and black pepper. This is a surprise about the nutmeg. um, you wouldn't know that that's in poultry seasoning, and it definitely is. It's kind of the same thing with my breakfast sausage seasoning. Finding like nutmeg in that list of ingredients, I like you don't identify it thinking about it being in there, but without it, it would definitely make a difference and not be the same at all. So I'm just going to make a single batch of this because I do have some left in this jar still. I love how versatile this little container is. And by the way, I'm happy with the motor on this immersion blender so far. 2 tablespoons of sage. 2 teaspoons of sage. 1.5 teaspoons of thyme. I could go get my homegrown, but I should get rid of this first. The homegrown's newer. Teaspoon of marjoram. I may have to shake this around. Maybe the coffee grinder would have been better for this amount. 3/4 teaspoon of rosemary, also homegrown. I have so much rosemary. And of course, you don't have to be as particular with this as you want. I always put a little more rosemary than stuff calls for in just about everything that calls for it. Sometimes if it doesn't, because I love rosemary, it's my favorite. 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg. Yeah, I'm not being precious about grinding it for this. Because you don't always have to be precious about that. I mean, if you're putting it on top of something like a Brandy Alexander or something, or eggnog, I might be adding 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. Pepper's another one of those I'm going to put a little extra in for my taste. But yes, it can be different, but if it still smells strong, and you're just throwing it in a blend, I wouldn't worry about it as much. I mean, if you're making a fancy dinner and you want your bechamel to be super on point, yeah, go ahead and grind your nutmeg that you keep in your little special grinder for nutmeg. This is where I think 4 blades makes a difference. Nope. Okay. I don't want to go get the Coffee grinder that I use for this because I don't want to get more shit out. So, mortar and pestle, it is. It's not that much. It's going to be the right call. I would definitely, obviously, I think last time I made a batch of this, I made more than one. Multiple of the recipe because, like I said, I go through a lot of it. But if you've got sage, thyme, marjoram, rosemary, nutmeg, and pepper, you can make your own poultry seasoning. Quit buying separate things of poultry seasoning and letting them sit there until they go bad because you only use them once a year. A, use them more. B, just make your own. If you only need that little bit once a year, you probably don't need to buy it. You probably have the nutmeg in there you're using for your egg yolk, not only the same time of year. But if you want the Firehouse Chicken recipe, I will post that because it is a game changer. It's so good and it's really easy. You put the stuff in a pot on the stove and you whisk in the eggs and you just kind of bring it up to temp, and the eggs help it really just stick to the chicken, and then you just dip and grill your chicken and then baste it till it's done, and it is so freaking good. It's always a crowd pleaser. All right. The rosemary just was not behaving and getting small enough to incorporate into the poultry seasoning the way I wanted it in the new gadget. All right. And actually, I'm going to grab that partial small thing of poultry seasoning I found while I was looking for something else. Oh, my sad empty cayenne container. Let's smell this and make sure it's poultry. Because for some reason I scraped the label off. Why? Why did I do this to myself and not relabel it? Ooh, it's peppery. Nope. Well. Okay. That's not poultry seasoning. And I don't... Oh! It's just pepper. It's the tail end of some peppercorns I had to use up. Oh, before I got some more, I ground it up because I needed... Never mind. Oof. And, here's a lesson. Always label your shit, man. This is some kind of labels for something else I bought. Because I, of course, thought, oh, I'll know what that is. It's pepper. It's obvious. Yeah, no, it wasn't. And that's not pleasant to just eat a fingerful of. No siree. Black pepper. It's not as obvious because it's ground a little finer. I did it in mortar and pestle than I normally do. Why was I grinding? Maybe it was prosperity cookies. For some reason, I had to finally ground black pepper. All right, so yeah. What else? How about a taco seasoning? Do you buy little packets of taco seasoning every time you make tacos? You might have everything in your house. Make taco seasoning. I'm going to double batch this. Oh, I hurt myself. With the pepper. Chili powder, cumin, salt, pepper, paprika, garlic powder, onion powder, crushed red pepper flakes. I'm going to be using cayenne again. And oregano. Look at that. The proportions are different, or I would say, gee, and it doesn't have time. It's really close to Bam. If you made the Bam, you probably have all this stuff too. If you don't have cumin, get cumin. It's got a lot of applications for recipes you might want to try. If you want to try more exotic things, Indian food or whatever. If you just want to make your chili with something other than only chili powder and you don't know how to do that, ooh-wee, that will next level your chili. Chili powder, by the way, I don't make my own chili powder. I might start. This is the Badia one I buy most often. But if I wanted to, it's paprika, smoked paprika, and I do keep smoked paprika in the house. Garlic powder, cayenne, onion powder, oregano, cumin. So there's really no excuse for me to be buying chili powder. I can't get this off. There we go. And it goes flying across the room. Okay. Taco. This will be nice. I want to make tacos soon. I want to make enchiladas soon, and I will use the same seasoning for that. So I want to have taco seasoning on hand and not buy a stupid packet. Whew. 1.5 teaspoons of cumin. Again, Badia. Check the international section of your grocery store because sometimes they have it separate from all the other spices, but is inexpensive, and I find them to be often better quality than your more expensive McCormick and such. They don't have everything, but they also have stuff you may never have tried. Get yourself some adobo and give it a go. Okay, teaspoon and a half. So 3, because I'm doubling. 3 teaspoons is a tablespoon. And when you smell it, you will say, oh, tacos. That's what that taste is if you have not experimented separately with cumin. If any of you ever tried, so Taco Bell makes chicken nuggets now. They have like a shit ton of cumin on them. It's not bad, but it's so like my brain couldn't connect that chicken nuggets tasting like that for some reason. If it were more subtle, like taco seasoning, but it was so cumin heavy that it was off to me. Salt. Okay, here's where I remember to get my little cauldron out. Thanks, Lori. I should call Lori and see if she wants to go out for a pint. I'm going to go out for a pint a little later. So 2 teaspoons of salt. This is another really good way to reduce something in my salt. It's a little black. Oh, probably came from the paint. Great. Yeah. I might have ADHD. I have a Dr. Zevia. My son got some soda I can have because it's sweetened with stevia. And left me one in the fridge. Get that pepper. Make it stop torturing me. 1/2 teaspoon of paprika. We love paprika. This is another, think paprika doesn't have a taste. A lot of people think it doesn't have a taste. I gotta say, yeah, I'm wrong. I mean, of course, the color is a great benefit. But it does have a little bit of a smoky or sweet smoke taste. Yeah, sweet and smoky. Even the non-smoked has a little bit of a smoky flavor. Garlic powder, 1/4 teaspoon, so like a half. And then onion powder. This has cayenne in it. Of course, that's going to be to taste. This doesn't even actually technically need to be ground up. I said a half, right? Yeah. But I am going to, just because look, can you see? There's a little lump in the onion powder. And I used kosher salt, which is chunky. Measuring kosher salt, I find, is a really great way to just automatically reduce your salt intake. Most recipes, unless it says kosher salt, they used like table salt, especially old recipes. Everybody just used table salt. Not everybody, but you know what I mean. Most of my white ancestors, anyway, just use table salt and everything, and it's finer grinds. Someday I should get out the scale and demonstrate it, but because it's bigger chunks and there's more air in between, it's just a little less salt when you're measuring into stuff and using a coarser salt. That's why you definitely want to make sure when you're canning and pickling to pay attention to what kind of salt it says. Because reducing is one thing, but canning and pickling salt is really finely ground, and it doesn't say to use that. I wouldn't, because if they were just using regular table salt, it's going to be way too salty if using canning and pickling salt. It's ground finer, so it dissolves more easily, which is great. Okay, quarter teaspoon of cayenne pepper flakes. Ground, crushed red pepper flakes, which is what this is. I'm not going to put a quarter. I'm going to put like a half, almost a half, because we want some spicy tacos in my house. And about a half a teaspoon of oregano. Just like my fancy labeling on my reusable jars. And oregano. It's another one of those. Like I said at the beginning, you didn't know it was in there. You didn't know it was in your barbecue sauce. And you didn't know it was in your taco seasoning. You didn't know it was in your chili powder. It is in almost every of those pre-made bottles you buy. It's in there. Ready? Oh, it lights up on top. All right. Oh, yeah. Dude. All right. That smells so good. Now I want tacos. I'm going to Raleigh. I'm not going to be cooking for a couple days. Mmm. This is definitely a better. I don't care if they vacuum sealed the pouch. This smells like it tastes twice as taco-y as one of those packets you open. Mm. Yeah. Okay. Do I have a taco seasoning already on the floor here? What is this? I think I have an empty one somewhere. That one says cayenne. I have a taco, coriander, thyme, lemon thyme. Yeah, I have a urban spice problem. Okay, I'm going to relabel this taco because I don't have any fresh cayenne to grind right now anyway. And having some cayenne in it before certainly isn't going to mess up my taco seasoning. These jars are usually, they used to be like $1, but often they're $2. I really like that they seal nice and tight with the wire. I usually get them at like Michael's or something. You can mail order a bunch of them cheaper. But as you can see, as long as you're putting it where it's not exposed to a bunch of sunlight, and you're using them in a reasonable amount of time. I had too much taco seasoning. It didn't fit. Dang nabbit. I don't want to waste it. Cumin, what's in there? Cumin? Coriander. No. Cumin, chili powder, salt, pepper, paprika. You know what I'm going to do? Because short of the smoked paprika, it has a lot of the same ingredients. I'm going to put this in my chili powder. Because other than, yeah, it's only a little bit. It's not gonna change. It'll actually just zhuzh this up a little bit. Yep. Wouldn't even know it's there. Except suddenly my chili would be way better. Because that's like all a bunch of ingredients that I add because my chili powder isn't quite giving me what I want out of a chili. Sorry, I'm over getting the little shaker hole thing to put back on my chili powder. All right. How we doing? It's pretty quick. Herb de Provence. Herb de Provence. Do we want to do some herb de Provence? Have you used herbs de Provence? That's something that, I don't know. You might want to buy for a recipe. I like it and I don't use it as often if I don't have it in the house. But I tend to have everything in the house to make it. But I don't think everyone does. Because of, like, the more common ingredients are marjoram, which, again, give marjoram a try. Not again, I don't think I mentioned that. Give marjoram a go. Marjoram is something that isn't really commonly used, and it's another, you don't realize what the flavor is and that you like it, but it's kind of the primary spice in like Polish sausage. If you like Polish sausage, that's kind of the best indicator of a single food item that I could explain to you what marjoram tastes like in. But it goes well with a lot of different things. And if you like Dragonlance novels, you put it in your Raceland's cough tea. But anyway, marjoram, thyme, basil, rosemary, sage. The two uncommon ingredients are lavender and ground fennel. I have lavender because I grow lavender. And it doesn't grow great all the time, but I did get a decent little harvest this year and sealed it up in this pretty jar that I have. And so I could absolutely, and it's been on a dark shelf, just kind of as a display item. This is an antique jar. Yeah, it still smells like lavender. So I could use this and make herb de Provence, because I have ground fennel. Well, I have fennel I could grind because I use it in my Italian sausage that I make. But this jar is, I don't know if you can see, it says on it Lockport Mason. I grew up in Lockport, New York. It's a suburb of Buffalo and also a suburb of Niagara Falls, I guess. But when I was a kid, one of the cool places to go in town and like explore was these ruins, and it was like an old glass factory, and it's got a really long history from like ages and ages ago. It's really interesting to look up the Lockport glass ball mason, and it is a ball mason, like ball. It does say mason on it, but these Lockport mason jars, and you can't see it well here, but it has this slight blue tinge to it, and I kind of want it as a memento of my home, and I found it online. I had seen one at a swap meet thing years ago and always regretted not buying it. So I bought that, and I even keep them lavender in it. So I could made. Let me know what you think. Oh, you taste already? Good. Good. Yeah, totally from scratch.
Really good.
Better than the
Yeah, better than the jar for sure.
awesome. All right, we never have to buy the jar again because that was not hard, and I will keep making the onion masala. That was such a great success that you can again look back at a VOD to find how to do in your Instapot if you have one. And of course, you don't have to use an Instant Pot. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't think I'm going to make Herb de Provence today for y'all. Again, I'll in the Discord, join my Discord, and if you go to 9of12.com, that's NINEOF12.com, there's a link there to join my Discord. And I'll put all of these in the recipes channel. Oh, I guess I'm not done. I'm going to do Italian seasoning, because that's one I know a lot of you are buying. Don't. It's silly. You should have all these things in your cupboard. Especially because then, you can just use them individually and figure out what you like better. But I'll put all these and maybe my breakfast sausage seasoning recipe in as well in the Discord. Okay. Basil. Do I double this up? No, it's got tablespoons of stuff in it. Okay. That's parsley. Let's make Italian seasoning. Italian seasoning. I've seen recipes that call for Italian seasoning. Kind of annoys me. But anyway, let me find the freaking basil. There it is. And Herb de Provence is a lovely thing to have for fish. You can put it in bread. But if you want to experiment with it, go ahead and get yourself a little jar before you start making it. Unless you're me and you've got fennel and lavender in the house anyway. Oh, I'm over an hour. That's okay. We're okay. I'm just going to do one more. I'm dropsy today. Tablespoon of basil. Tablespoon of rosemary. This one I'm not going to put more in, even though I usually do with rosemary, because in Italian dishes, you tend to think more of the basil and oregano flavors, so we want them balanced like they are in this recipe. Basil, rosemary, thyme. Thyme is another really underused spice. Actually, I have to thank my husband for that, for all his being picky and not a gourmand by any means, and has learned a lot from me. He really told me he liked thyme, and I was kind of off and running, I guess, and used thyme more since we're together. Marjoram, again, you didn't know it was in there, did you? You've been buying Italian seasoning. You can look at the ingredients and the label. Sometimes blends will, I don't have any blends here, will say everything that's in them on the label. A lot of times they won't, because they don't have to. It just says spices or something. Yes. Oh, that good, huh? Holy shit.
Having it today. And yeah, it is really
Good.
good.
I haven't had it yet. Just saying.
Yeah, I'm not gonna eat it. Just kidding.
Yeah, I hope not. There's like 8, I think,
Yeah.
sides in there. Yeah. I figured it'd be good for you to have leftovers when I'm gone. 2 tablespoons of oregano. That was 1 tablespoon of parsley, by the way. Alrighty. Italian seasoning. Look at the lights. All right. And there we go. Oh, yep. That and a can of tomatoes, and you've got some sauce that is next level enough that people will know it's homemade and not out of a jar. Just from stuff you probably have in your cupboard. All right, yeah. So once again, join the Discord. I'll put all of these blends in there, plus the herbs to Provence, which I did not do. My sausage seasoning recipe, if anybody wants it, and I might do a giveaway for sausage seasoning because Hando, my wonderful subscriber, never gave me his address to send him this packet of sausage seasoning that I have for him. What have we learned? You don't have to buy a whole bunch of blends. You don't have to buy little packets of taco seasoning. Although you should probably go ahead and have marjoram in your cupboard and thyme if you don't. You probably have more in your cupboard that you didn't know could be turned into these things and can start condensing things down. So I hope you learned something. I hope you are also having something good for dinner. I can't wait to get into that masala. I love that that was a success. I should probably post in the recipes. I'll post the link to the recipe I use, sort of. Maybe, maybe not, because there were two, and I modified the hell out of it. That's why I didn't even title, like, I didn't change the title of the stream that I was making that, because I was just kind of winging it. All right. Well, anyway, thanks for coming. Hope you learned something. I hope you try it. I hope you come to Discord and let me know how you're enjoying making your own spice blends. And I look forward to cooking with you soon.